trust, vulnerable.
Inspiring, inspired,
freedom,
uncomfortable,
authentic,
being empowered, being connected,
uncertainty, clarity,
Patience, compassion,
open, support,
community focus,
and exciting.
emotional,
reflection.
reciprocity.
For me personally, I also needed to be insightful about my own background as Mexican American.
I needed to grapple with my own positionality, especially as a scholar from the global north, and how I was going to establish trust and rapport, not only between myself and the students, but amongst the students, and more importantly, between our collective group and the host communities and schools we were planning to engage with.
It starts before you even get out of the country. It starts with creating an environment of trust, an environment where everybody feels safe to express what they're feeling, and also knowing that we have each other's back, knowing that we will support each other when we're stuck or we may say the wrong thing.
Some of the community expectations were to have open communication with the cohort, to support and challenge each other, to be inclusive and patient with one another, which included aiming to have meaningful conversations with every member of the group.
Building the team, setting expectations, and building a community of trust so that we can be vulnerable, so we can share, so we can have this dialogue. And that's what it's all about, truly.
For me, it's also about being intentional in designing the curriculum so that we could truly have space to reflect and also critically process our experiences as a group, not just on-site, but in terms of sustained engagement as a cohort with the host communities we visited.
And I think it was also a time for some of the women of color to really express themselves and to feel in community with some of the other folks who were like supporting what they were suggesting.
So he really started to, those gears started to shift about privilege and what sort of power he might have and what he might want to do with that privilege and power once he's back in the States.
In both of these circles, a lot of information came out about student social identities.
We had a couple of small, little workshop focus groups to get people in smaller groups and to talk about some of the dynamics that were happening.
I took the time to really, encourage everyone to open up and share. But this brave space was created partly because we had already started this in the pre-departure sessions. So I would say courageous conversations and creating brave spaces is challenging. Sometimes it's pretty scary as a faculty leader, but they're totally worth it because students really bond and they gain such a deeper sense of themselves, as I did myself.
So that was a tough conversation to have. There was definitely some moments where different people were getting heated, but the fact that there were two of us facilitators and we had it as a smaller group, we had everyone sitting in a circle, we were able to kind of facilitate the dynamics. As where everyone got to speak up and let their points be heard, there was some crying.
They were all in a space of learning. All of them saw the host community as a new community and wanted to really understand it and see how they were perceived there, but also wanted to share their experiences with one another and how they were experiencing it differently.
I try to show up and be brave so that I can model vulnerability and authenticity, which actually has allowed the participants in the program to feel that they can be open, that they are safe, that it's okay to be imperfect because we're all learning in another culture. And yet when I actually model that vulnerability and share sometimes in the tears, it's brought up a lot of questions for me. Will I be labeled as an emotional instructor? If I'm vulnerable, will I lose my authority? Does that matter to me? How can I ensure that I'm also taking care of myself so that I can rise when I'm needed by the participants?